Dave, thanks so much for joining us on the show, man. It's an honor to have you on here.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. And it's an honor to be in a time and place in life where I can still do all these fun things,
Absolutely. I mean, this new solo album, Rites of Percussion, is just incredible, dude. I enjoyed
Really?
it. Man, I loved it. I've been listening to it in the car. I mowed the lawn to it the other day, which is an experience. But
That's great.
It took me places, man. Mentally, I went
Great.
in all different directions. I tell you, man.
Good. I'm glad. It's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to challenge you. And it's basically it's like 40 minutes living in my head. Is what it is. It's a journey through my mind and how I perceive and hear things. So it was a great experience, and I'm happy you're enjoying it.
Well, it's very cinematic and dark, that's for sure. But
I can't help
like a cheerful dude. But
I can't help but dabble in the darkness. It follows me everywhere. I don't know why.
But tell you what, man, what's the story you were trying to tell with it? Or are you leaving it open to sort of interpretation? Is there
I'd rather leave it to interpretation. It's a rhythmic, cinematic journey through my mind, my percussive experience, hand percussion, the way I see or the way I hear. It's an interpretation of how I hear rhythm and cinematic score kind of marry in this kind of connection. It's kind of hard to explain. Like you said, just leave it for interpretation by the listener. I think it was something that I just had to do in my life and in my career, and I think it's kind of opened the door to possibly doing even more albums like this. Maybe there could be a Rites of Percussion too, because now I listen to it and I'm just, wow, I want to try this next time. It's kind of like it's tickling me. It's like, Dave, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And so it's been a lot of fun. So
soundtracks for films is, I think, something that maybe you should be looking at doing, brother, because it's got like all that and above.
I've dabbled in that. I recently worked on a film score. I wrote, I composed all of it. It was a documentary. It's called Los Últimos Frikis. It's about metalheads in my home country of Cuba and how they, prevailed and suffered and suffered and prevailed, within the communist regime. And, for the love of music, they moved, they created kind of like this underground culture. It's a band called Zeus, and they were like one of the first metal bands and the biggest metal band in Cuba. So I recorded the score for that. And I've also worked with Tyler Bates and Joseph Bashara.
Yeah.
And Tyler Bates from the movie 300 and Dawn of the Dead.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Joseph Bashara from this Insidious series of movies. Also, a legend, Christopher Young. I've worked with him on several of his pieces for his movies. So yeah, it's definitely something I would love to do. But it's a whole other business,
Yeah,
and but who knows? who knows? Maybe a project might come up, and I'll do it. I hope it'll be fun.
Absolutely. I mean, this one, it sounds to me like it starts off in the jungle and then it go, you know what I mean? And like deep Amazonian jungle. And then it just goes from there. Like Bloodlet sounded like I was in the bottom of a ship as it was sinking.
Oh, dude, yeah, yeah.
Like that.
Interferium and interferium, like for me, it's just creepy as fuck, you know. And that was a lot of fun because I was able to experiment with the piano. And in the studio, the piano is a percussive instrument. You
Yes.
know, it just has strings, but it's hit with hammers, obviously, so it makes it percussive, which a lot of people, you know, fail to recognize. But you know, that one I opened up the piano box. It was a grand piano. I opened it up and I put a weight or a sandbag on the sustain pedal on the piano, and so the strings were, you know, resonant. So I was able to hit the strings with mallets, actual mallets, leaning into the piano box and doing that. And that was a lot of fun. You know, Bloodlet, yeah, the hi hat solo, uh, which was creepy as well.
And so clever. Like I loved where it took me mentally. Like and what was the other one? How do you pronounce it? Miro?
Miedo, o miedo,
Amira?
yeah, o miedo, yeah, that's good. That's fine.
Chased by spirits.
Mhm.
That's the vibe I got from it. Like it was being chased by spirits, angry
Yeah,
spirits. It's a wild ride, dude. And I really, really think, as we said before, you should be doing more of it. And I hope there's a sequel. But who did you bring in with you? Was it just you by
it was
yourself?
just me. It was written, recorded, and produced by myself during pandemic
Hmm.
in my home. And I rented a studio several months later to, you know, create some overdubs and utilize, you know, the room and the mixing console of a proper studio. My son, he mixed it. He and I both mixed it together, but I give him all the credit because he knows all the frequencies and everything. And it was just it was an experience. It was definitely an experience, and like I said, one that I probably want to revisit.
It's been floating around for a long time, right? Like,
It has, yeah. I mean, inspired by Tito Puente, Latin percussionist,
yeah.
uh, from the Caribbean, but he was a New York Latin jazz kingpin, and also John Bonham for his song called Bonzo's Montreux on
Hmm.
the Coda album. And so between Tito and John Bonham, and then later I got into Mickey Hart, Planet Drum. Then I got into several other African musicians, percussionists, um, and also indigenous drumming from Africa. I really got into Yoruban and Congo rhythms, Nigerian rhythms, um, and of course Caribbean and Brazilian. But yeah, it was quite the journey, you know, and it all just built up through the years because
Yeah.
I mentioned it to Patton, you know, that I was, you know, thinking about doing something like this, and he just lit the fire and he cranked it up and never let me forget about it. He says, like, what about that drum record? What about that drum record, Dave? Hey, I'm doing this project. Well, how about that drum record? You know, and when I delivered it, I said, I finally did it. Here it is. You know, he was really, really happy that I finally, you know, saw this project through. And yeah, and it was definitely a moment of like exhale and relief. It's like, I did it. I can't believe it. And even leading up towards the end of the recording sessions, I had these moments of there's a right word for this, exuberance. I was just like, I just so happy. And to, when you get to a point, like when you've done as much as I have, and then you do something and that's your own, it's your own little baby. It's the most gratifying experience that you could ever have. And it kind of sets you up for more. And it helps you gain confidence, and that you become fearless. And I've already felt that way with all the different kinds of projects I've done.
Ooh.
But when you do something on your own is a point of you become kind of like you're very proud of yourself. It's like, I did it. So I hope a lot of people look at this and hopefully pursue their own goals and dreams, and don't let that that voice haunt you and say, oh, you got to do that. Why don't you create this body of work, or why don't you create this piece of art, or open up the shop, or something? Always follow your dreams, and work at them and make them come true somehow.
That's very inspiring, dude. Especially, I mean, coming from you, you've done it. You've kicked a lot of goals, and hearing that you've still got things that you want to achieve and that you have achieved is super inspiring, dude. That's really cool.
I was born loving music and rhythm, and I could never ever see myself, retiring or not playing music anymore. I would fall into a deep depression. It was bad enough with pandemic,
yeah, man.
not being able to play live. I've been playing live since I was 16, 17 years old. And so for that to stop, that was one of the most horrible times. And we all went through it, and what I kept telling myself, and my wife was telling me, was that everybody's going through the same thing, Dave. You're not the only one. And so, doing this record helped me through the process of being idle. And it helped.
And since then, you've been, I mean, you're a busy dude. I don't know how many Daves there are. You got a cloning machine somewhere, I swear. But man, you've been jamming with the Misfits. That's something that I would sell my soul. It's going on Marketplace and eBay tonight to see live. Man, how is it jamming with Glenn and the boys?
Oh, dude. First of all, you're amongst legends. And that's just something you don't easily get used to. There's always I'm always a fan at heart, to begin with. I'm always a fan. And then I'm a musician and a drummer. And, in working with them, when I received a phone call from Glenn, and, hearing his excitement, and the fact that they were getting back together, and he choosing me as the drummer, and asking me, I was just like, of course, you got it, man. I've been with them since 2016. And I just realized that the other day. It's like, wow, I've been with them for a while now. And so working with them, it's been an absolute pleasure. Jerry Only, he's an amazing human being. So is Doyle.
Yeah.
Doyle is hilarious, man. He's funny. He's a good guy. And our B guitar player, AC Slade from
Yes.
Dope and Murder Dolls. Yeah, great guy. I love their entire crew. They're all New Jersey, the New Jersey gang. They're so awesome out there. So much fun. I just got a message the other day from Jerry Only. Hey, I want to order some drumsticks, Dave. And it's like, okay. I still have to answer him. I've just been swamped lately. But it's they're awesome. Great
That's
guys.
so cool. That's so cool. And of course, Testament as well, man, getting out there and jamming.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with Testament, the schedules it kept clashing, so I won't be joining them this year
Oh,
in any other tours. Yeah, so MrBungle, I have Bungle, I have
yeah.
Empire State Bastard, a band from England, uh, formed by Biffy Clyro members. They're massive over there. I mean, they headline Download Festival alongside, Iron Maiden and Kiss, and
Oh, we know
so
Biffy.
yeah, man,
On the
they're
Biff.
great.
On the Biff.
Biff, Biffy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's a great project. So yeah, I'm focusing on Misfits, Empire State Bastard, MrBungle, and of course Dead Cross and all my other little projects that I've been doing, and Venomoris, which is ballads that I've been writing with my wife, and they're dark, kind of Portishead, kind of vibe, and really cool stuff. So yeah, always doing something.
Do you know what we need though?
What?
Here in Australia, of course, Dave Fest, where you and all your projects one day. I mean, look, we may have to put you on life support after, but you could do it all day and just
all day.
Every single thing. I could see it in your eyes going, no fucking way. But we can dream. We can dream that all your projects.
Dream, right? Yeah, that'll be cool. How about one band that plays all that music, and we could do one set of all the different bands that I played in? Play Slayer songs, Suicidal. We'll play Grip Incorporated. We'll play some Apocalyptica. We'll play DJ Spooky. Play some classical. Some jazz.
Dude, sign me up. I will buy. That sounds like a good idea. I think that's cool, man, because you've done a lot in your career, and it's such an amazing body of work, and like there's so much more I'd love to get into. I know we're probably running out of time, but
I know.
But man, like of course, there's one thing that I just want to end on. One of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my life was the first Phantom Us tour down here in Australia. I saw you in Brisbane, and the connection between you and Mike Patton, like, is just something I've never experienced before. You guys, it was like you were the one entity on stage. It was in.
Yeah. Patton and I, we share a certain dynamic musical connection that I also share with another gentleman named John Zorn.
Yes.
I just performed, actually we played Adelaide, the Adelaide Jazz Festival, I think back in 2010 or something like that. Not sure. It was a while ago. And yeah, there's a certain connection, an improvisational connection. It's like, where the artist is going. I know where Patton is going. And sometimes, you might not think that we're going to land at the same spot, and we do. And we don't know how we do it, but it just happens spontaneous. And it happened with Zorn when I was just playing with him at Knoxville Big Ears Festival. We did a trio, improvised trio, so saxophone, drums, and bass. Trevor Dunn, bass player for Phantomus, played with us. And man, it's just, the connection is just unreal with certain musicians. When you have that, it's magic, because you can spontaneously create and then look back, it's like, what was that? What did we just do? And when you listen back, people are baffled because I've had guys stop me at the airport. Hey, I saw you guys performing last night. Was that written? And and I said, no, it's all improvised. They said, but you guys landed at certain, points in the song. It sounded like you knew where you were going. And I said, it's just, you're watching and you're listening, and you're watching body gestures. You're looking at the fingers, like when the bass player is doing something, or the saxophone player, and you follow those rhythms, and you follow those patterns, and somehow you end up looking like you knew what you were doing.
And it's and it's magic. I don't know. People just wish they could have that. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. But hey, Dave, it's been awesome hanging out on the show. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And of course, we have all the links down here to Rites of Percussion. That's out on May 5 through Ipecac. And mate, thank you so much. And I hope you have the best day ever. Thank you, guys.
You too, man. Thank you.